Hello everyone, here we are again. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and here we are at the middle of the month and at the same time the middle of the collaboration. It's very exciting, and this is prompt number 7, and it's for today, which is Monday. So there we go, just paging through. Now, as I said, I'm going to do a double page spread because we're in the middle of the journal and the middle of the prompts and the middle of the collaboration and the middle of the month. So we're all in the middle. And the prompt today is underwater, any water. So I have chosen the sea, and I have decided that we're going to visit an octopus. Now, I don't know if you guys will remember, or if you are young enough, you won't remember because you wouldn't have been there, but there was a lovely little song, actually I think composed by Ringo Starr, the drummer of the world famous band the Beatles, and his little song was I remember the first 2 lines: I'd like to be under the sea, in the octopus's garden in the shade. I'll always remember that because it was such a lovely little lilting tune, and you could tell kids would love it. Anyway, I digress. Here we go. So now this is actually a combination of all sorts of mixed media things, because the octopus's garden, the octopus needs a cave in the rocks to live. So his cave will be around about here, and it will be like that, and there will be the entrance, just vaguely like that. I hope you guys can see it. It's not easy to see pencil lines in this, but it'll all come together very shortly. So there we have Ollie's cave. His name is Ollie, by the way. I've given him a name. He's Ollie the octopus, and we're looking at his garden. So here we have, now I'm going to start off, because sometimes this is more fun, other times it's fun and more texture, and other times it's just fun. So I'm crumpling up this brown paper, which, if you know a little bit about collage, you will know that that is actually a way of starting to create imitation leather for book covers and that sort of thing. But what I'm doing here is just creating a bit of texture to form rocks, and I'm going to just tear off pieces and stick them down, because then it combines the texture with all sorts of things, and it's going to work a little bit faster and have a little more interest. Okay, while the Polarox is outside in the sun drying off, I've started getting together some bits and pieces. As I said, I was going to be doing a fair amount of collage, and you'll see why as we go on. But I brought this out just to serve as a little bit of a reminder for you guys. I'm busy cutting out the seaweed at the moment because I rather like it. I think it's rather cool. And what I'm using is the piece of that job print that we used further back in the journal for the fold over, for the, what is it called, the little tuck spot that I made. That's what I'm doing now, is just cutting these out. I drew on the back the outline because it's easier to see that way. There we go. You see, that will be rather cool. And then I've got another one here. Now I could do, you see, look, it might come in handy. So I'm just going to do this. Because you never can tell. And here I've got another piece that's doing that. So just cut this off like this. You see, you never can tell. So we just put all of this to one side now. Okay, now I'm getting on with some other little bits and pieces. I'm doing another version of seaweed here. You can just see the pencil outline. It's just a vague squiggly wavy thing which I'm doing. And then something else, I have been practicing drawing a seahorse, and I'm trying to do it in a Zentangly way. So let me find it. Here we go. You see, that's how I'm drawing it. So I'll do this with you guys in case somebody out there would like to have a go. Okay, that's my piece of paper that I took out, and then that is to show you some of the options that you can come up with when you are drawing the little babies. Okay, so let's get down to this. What I've got here is it's a sheet of mixed media paper. It's a lovely one. It comes from the stationery shop that I frequent, and it's very nice quality. I'm very impressed with it and quite happy. Very inexpensive, so it's well worth the try. Okay, so now how we do this is we start off. Let me see if I can remember. And I need to get him into the right size. I think this is the right size, so I'm just going to make a little strip along here which tells me that this is the size that I want the seahorse to be. Okay, so now we start with a circle. I've made it quite a bit bigger than I'd say about the size of my thumbnail, perhaps, around. Okay, then we're going to come from this side, go in, and then come out and go in again. Then we come from this side, we curve out of it. Oh, I came in a little bit too close there. All right, I'll have to just redraw that, but it's okay. You see, that was, I made that curve a little bit too much, but it's fine. I shall simply rub it out. So there we go, like that. And here we must go like this. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to do the tail. And the tail, again, we start on this side just because it seems to work better that way. So we'll come down like this. And there we have it. And here, this will just curve out slightly. Just need to get this curve looking a little bit better. I'm a very untidy sketcher, as you can no doubt see. Scratchy lines, that's me. But as I get more accustomed to drawing things, then my pencil is a lot surer than this. There we go. That's given us a nice round curve. So that's that part. Now we're going to do his wee snoot. So we come like that, and we come like that, because if you remember, seahorses seem to have this shaped little face. And I'm putting an oval here. Like that. So then we have this bit. Now we're going to do his kind of dragon look. Kind of goes to there. Then we have his little fins, which I like to call his little wings, because I think they look just like little mini dragon wings. So that comes there like that. And then this little bit starts again here. And around we go. And if you like, you can make these go smaller and smaller until it's smooth, or you can keep thinning it out. I'm actually going to let mine go all the way down his back. And then we put his lovely big eye. And that is the start of our seahorse. I'm going to go over this now with the pen. I'm going to use the fine liner edge of the end of the pen. Now I like to do this when I'm outlining in the ink. Go all the way around to here. Put in his eye and his little funny snoot. And his wing. Now we come up here. Now this, I still like this shape to be there. And then we go down here. Oh, let's put in the tail while we're about it. There we go. And we come this side like that. Right, now this is one more thing with the outlining that I like to do, because there's like an underneath to this little guy. We will do that. And we do this, and here we just take this like that. And then we go around. And we're just going to finish him off like that. And then what I also do here, because I've seen it in other little pictures of seahorses, and there we go. That, folks, is our little seahorse. I hope you like him. I think he's rather gorgeous. In fact, I might just do a mirror image so that we have two seahorses in Ollie's garden. There we go. So that's that. I found a little scrap of tracing paper, so I have copied the little seahorse. And this is a trick I use when I'm transferring a design off tracing paper onto another piece of paper, is I use a little embossing tool. I find it's so much cleaner than trying to go over it with a pencil again and getting pencil smeared all over the place. Unless it's just because I'm such a messy worker. Could be that too. Yes, I brought in the journal because the start of the rocks has dried nicely, so I can get on with that. And that is actually one of the reasons why I am doing such a lot of cutting things out and collaging them onto the page. It's because the rock formation is so what would you call it? So texturized, I guess. You know, it's lumpy and everything. So trying to draw things on top of that would not be incredibly helpful. And there we kind of have it. That will do fine. So now we've got our two little seahorses done. I just need to bring the seaweed out. Now I want to do a little bit of, I think coral perhaps would be what it looks like, I think. That's one. Let's do another one. I've done a fair amount of stuff here. I just thought I'd show you how far I've got so you get an idea of the process. Here, of course, are my little seahorses, and I just had to go as far as the colouring in went because these are little critters that I've designed myself. These little seahorses. So I'm quite proud of them, actually. Anyway, here's some seaweed, and I'm kind of doing something that would suggest coral growth to pop in amongst the rocks. And here's another one, could be seaweed, could be coral. And my octopus tentacles that I've started. Then here is just a whole bunch of shells and the beginning of a sea urchin. That's fine, I can make it smaller as I'm going. There we go. We just round these off at the bottom and put a much smaller foot on there. That's better. I'm trying to do uneven numbers because that is artistically acceptable, but there are some times that I've got to just do 2 or maybe even 1 so that I can fit everything onto my page. There we go. Round those bits off and put in the little foot. Now there's also something that I took and reinvented. So let me show you how it was originally. It was like that. And then these spikes we put all the way around. That is more or less what that looked like in the Zentangle drawing. But I just wanted to make it spikier. And to my mind, that just looks more like a sea urchin than the previous one. So I'm going to do another one, but I'll start doing it in pencil first because it's a little bit difficult. One can make errors. So basically it's just Ollie's head and his other tentacles. So I wanted to make his head about this big. Those are his two that come out to this side like that. So I need some that are going to go like this. And a couple that will come out from behind. So then we've got 3, 4, 5. And the other 3 will be hidden in behind him. Okay, I've inked these all in now. And what I'm going to do after this is color them in, either with the acrylic markers or some acrylic paint. I forgot to show you my little tray of acrylics. It's from that same company, that Australian company, Montmartre, because I like what they do. You know, everything that I've tried of theirs so far has been successful. So that is my paints for doing small work. When I say small work, it's, you know, painting with fine brushes on little tiny images, because I think that's the direction in which I am going with my stuff. So there we have it, folks. Now what I'll do is off camera, I'll color or paint these all in, fussy cut them out, and then we will assemble on camera again. Right. I think it's time for a little bit of show and tell now. I've gone quite a long way off camera, but the reason for that is that I really needed to get all my little bits and pieces made. I've done an awful lot of printing and drawing since I've been off camera, but it's getting to the point now where I need to start showing you what I'm doing. What I've done is I've stuck down the bigger things that were bothering me slightly, because I needed to get them into position before I could go any further. So what we've got here, I'm going to turn it around now so that you guys have a better view. Okay, what we've got now is this dear little sign saying Ollie's Garden. And here, of course, is Ollie, our octopus. And I put in my seaweeds and my seahorses and my jellyfish. Now there's just, when I say there's just, now there's an awful lot of little bits and pieces of ephemera to attach to finish the picture. So I'm turning it back around, and I'll show you, because some of the things are fairly interesting in that they're not your normal little bits and pieces. Let's move this up slightly so I can fit this here. For example, this is actually, I don't know if you must have them. We have something called a dishwashing sponge. It's an oblong piece of sponge with a piece of fairly strong but not abrasive cleaning material that is quite stiff and hard on one side of the sponge for scouring without causing damage. But as it gets older and starts to wear out, this green sponge, well, not the sponge part, but the cleaning piece turns very fluffy like this. And I used it once before with an underwater scene that I did in my granddaughter's little book, and I tucked it in with the seaweed, and it looks absolutely super. It looks so realistic. So I've got that little piece out. Then I've made an awful lot of shells. I think you've seen them, but I've colored them in now. So we have the mussel shells. I'm just going to put them up there so you can see them. We've got the scallop shells. Where's the other one? There we go, number 3. 3 little sea urchins. Some more shells, some of the kind of ammonite type shapes, these ones here, and then some other funky ones. Then we have some bright orange coral, some kind of pinky, and where's our third little pink one? I know I have a third one. It's on the desk here somewhere. No doubt it will lift its little head and greet me in a moment. And then I've got this kind of seaweed, and then kind of a spongy thing. I'm thinking sponge of some sort, and a little bit of that leftover green seaweed. So I'm going to put those back in here, or on here. Makes it easier. Really don't understand what's happened to the third little pink piece of coral. I will hopefully find it, because I like things to be in 3s, not 2s, when possible. Okay, so the first things I need to do is to populate the rock, the little outside of the cave, with things, because I need to do that before I can put the glue down Ollie properly. At the moment I've just got his body glued down, and all his tentacles are still waving around in the air. But I'm going to put the most colourful things here because they're I've got this nice dark background to bounce off of. Now we're going to put one of those over here, I think. And another one can come down there by a... This is going to be difficult. I forgot to tell you about this. This is the this is river sand. What I did was I put a thick layer of glue on here, and then I sprinkled the river sand on and left it to dry, and then I came back and went over it with the liquid matte medium to kind of hopefully stick it into place. It does work pretty well. I've done it before in my granddaughter's little book. I did an undersea thing with a little mermaid, and I did put a layer of sand across the bottom, and it did last. So yeah, there we go. All right, now these mussel shells, I think I'd like them to actually be here. Oh, I need to remember that we have a fold. So we will put it on this side, I think. Now they need to be close to the rocks, don't they? Because mussels like rocks. Okay, we're going back to there. This takes forever, you know, the auditioning and the deciding, the decision making about where exactly everything's going to go. So I think I can put those there. And this will stay here. And we can put the sea urchins down here somewhere as well. So we've got some nice bright greens in this area. But I think we also need kind of a little pathway to show itself here. So okay, that's where the shells are going to go. Right, let's start sticking things down. This one is going to go here. Now I don't mind this these things not being glued down flat, because this is a very textured page, and I don't mind if it's kind of all over the place. So I think those can go up there. You know, as long as there's a healthy blob of glue to hold something in place, I don't mind if it's not glued down all over. Okay, this little one can go up there, I think. Go. That one there. That one there. Now this one is glued down. So these two, I like, you know, I've got these in place, arranged the way I like them, so I'm going to glue them together first. and then I will put them down here. Now, of course, the disadvantage of the lovely sandy bar at the bottom of the page is the fact that things don't stick to it very well. So we are going to have a bit of floating ephemera, if that makes any sense. However, I'll put quite a bit of glue on. Hope that it's going to attach itself somewhere. Right. How's that doing so far? I think it's attaching on one side. Now we've got this little one to glue down. Rather like that there. It's quite pretty. Like that, I think. Let's start with that one. Glue these two together. These still need to be completed. I'm going to color in the fish and do the jellyfish's little dangly bits. Now I wonder if I can use a little piece of crumpled up brown paper, because it's kind of got a bit more texture than what's here at the moment, and I'm going to kind of glue it together in a bunch like that. And attach it to the back of the mussel shell. And at the same time attach it to the sand. I think that should work. Actually need little weights on these things to hold them in place, don't I? And there we go, we're kind of getting glued down. that little group there could just get itself stuck together. I think best that I come back when this is done. And now we're ready for the big reveal. The page is completed and ready to be viewed. There's quite a bit of explaining to do, so let's have a look. At least one tentacle was hanging over the edge, and I didn't feel like cutting it off. So I've left it where it is for now. If it gets too damaged, then I can always cut it off later. Okay, so what we've done here is I have attached a lot of the stuff across the bottom. Once I got off camera and started focusing, I remembered double-sided tape. So that's what I've used for most of these things being attached to the sandy base, because that is where the sticking down wasn't working very well. As you can see, what can I use? Maybe just this. Ollie's tentacles are slightly raised, but the entire page doesn't close properly. When I say properly, the pages don't meet exactly because of the bulkiness of a lot of what I've put on here. So they're actually looking after each other. Now, something else I'd like to point out, I'm hoping it shows, I think it is. It's quite visible off camera, but you see I've put bubbles here in the background, and the way I did it was to just put a stencil in and draw inside the stencil the bubbles with a white acrylic marker, and that's what gave me that. And then just to emphasize them a tad, because I did notice that they weren't showing extremely well. So what I did then was I took a colored pencil and a blending tool, and I just gently colored in around the bubbles to make the background slightly darker and to bring them more to the surface, but without being too invasive. And I hope I've succeeded. Final touches to the seahorses. Little touch-ups to the seaweed. I kind of edged things where I felt that the edging wasn't showing enough. And of course then I also completed the little fishies and the jellyfish. So that's about it, folks. And you know, finished the sign there for Ollie's garden. Haven't done an awful lot to the rocks this time because I think the texture does enough. So that's that. Something I'm really happy with is my mussel shells. They look almost real, don't they? Okay, people. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. I know it's a long video, but I think it might be worth it. So I hope you'll continue with the collaboration. If you are, if you're just watching, you're welcome. You're welcome to watch. Please like if you liked this page. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I'm always happy to get more subscribers. And of course, your comments. You know how I feel about comments. I absolutely love them because I think that is how we learn what people want to see and what they're not really interested in. So that's about it, folks. We're in the middle of the collab, as I've said earlier, but there we have it. So it's time to say goodbye and to wish you stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you very soon.